welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
So when we talk about Seattle rock, grunge, certain names just pop up immediately. Nirvana, obviously.
Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, yep, the giants.
Exactly. The ones who filled stadiums, took that sound absolutely global. But the real raw blueprint, the sound that kind of defined the whole vibe, especially for Sub Pop, often it really comes down to one guy, Mark Arm.
Yeah, Mark Arm. He's like central, but maybe not always the first name people think of.
Right.
He's this fascinating paradox. I mean, the original voice of all that, cynicism and noise. Beautiful noise, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
But his actual life, it's this picture of like amazing consistency, stability.
That's wild when you put it side by side.
Totally. We're talking about the Mudhoney frontman. Mudhoney. Arguably the band that most defined that core grunge sound without hitting that massive stadium level.
They are the sound in many ways.
And he's kept this really practical connection to the whole scene, the scene he basically invented or co-invented.
So that's what we're doing today. This is the mission.
Yeah.
Get past the big headlines, the celebrity stuff.
Right.
And really uncover the full picture of Mark Arm. The musician, the scene guy, the professional. How does it all fit?
Yeah, pull out those surprising bits that really show his unique place. It's a story about maybe integrity, longevity over just like sheer fame.
And we should probably just hit those contradictions right away.
Yeah.
Because they really make you stop and think.
Okay, yeah. Let's do it.
So this guy, architect of that feedback-drenched, almost out-of-control sound, voice of the quote-unquote slacker generation.
Yeah.
He was a Boy Scout.
Boy Scout. Yep, that's fact one.
Went to Bellevue Christian High School. Got an English degree from the University of Washington. Emphasis on creative writing.
That English degree, that one always gets me. It adds such a different layer.
And the kicker. Today, right now, he's the warehouse manager for Sub Pop Records.
Warehouse manager. I mean, come on. That's incredible.
Let's unpack that first one. The front man, the icon. Managing, shipping, and receiving for the label he defined.
It's the ultimate, anti-rock star move, isn't it?
Totally. Which brings us right into our first section. The foundations. His education, the day jobs, how they didn't just, pay the bills, but maybe shaped his whole approach to music.
Okay, so basics first. Mark Arm, born Mark Thomas McLaughlin, February 21st, 1962.
And where he was born is kind of interesting, too. Vandenberg Air Force Base in California.
Right, a military base. For the guy who kind of became this voice of, anti-authoritarian rock, it's a neat little wrinkle.
He grew up mostly in Kirkland, Washington, though, near Seattle.
And that Kirkland upbringing, it just keeps throwing up these hints of unexpected normalcy.
Like the Boy Scouts thing we mentioned.
Exactly, Boy Scouts. Then Bellevue Christian High School. If you're looking for that standard troubled artist backstory that gets slept onto grunge...
That doesn't fit.
It really doesn't. It points towards, stability. Structure, maybe.
But I think the academic side is maybe the most revealing for this deep dive. Graduating in '85 from the University of Washington. English degree.
Yeah.
Creative writing focus.
Yeah, that's huge because the assumption is often that this sound, this grunge thing, it came from just raw, unthinking rage.
Primal scream territory.
Right. But in English degree, specializing in creative writing, that suggests something much more, intellectual.
Yeah.
Considered.
A deliberate approach to communicating.
Exactly. It implies his creative process, even the noise, is way more intentional than maybe the sound suggests. You need to understand language, structure, metaphor, theme, all that stuff for creative writing. So the chaos in Mudhoney's music, maybe it's not just chaos, it's like an educated choice, crafted chaos.
The lyrics definitely back that up. They're cynical, dark, funny, but they feel written.
They are absolutely crafted. It's the work of someone who gets how language works. Even if he's delivering it in a scream over a wall of feedback, that intellectual grounding makes the cynicism hit harder. It's not just whining, it's informed.
Okay, so you've got this icon, this influential musician touring, shaping a genre.
Yeah.
And somehow balancing it with this incredibly stable professional life. That dual identity. That's really where he differs from so many contemporaries who were all in on the rock star dream, right?
Oh, absolutely. Having a steady non-music job for someone at his level, especially coming through that whole 90s major label feeding frenzy, it's almost unheard of.
And the job now managing the Sub Pop warehouse.
The symbolism there is just, wow. The guy who was the sound of early Sub Pop, who helped build the label's artistic rep,
is now literally managing the physical stuff. The boxes, the shipping, the
like
logistics.
his backbone. It's this perfect full circle thing.
And it wasn't his only real job either. Before that, he worked at Fantagraphics Books.
Right. Fantagraphics, another hugely important piece of Seattle's independent culture.
Totally. Known for, pushing boundaries, publishing challenging stuff, comics, graphic novels.
So, connecting the dots. His professional life seems focused on, infrastructure, supporting these independent, high-integrity operations, Fantagraphics, Sub Pop logistics.
What does that suggest about his view of music?
Well, maybe that he sees it less as a path to personal fame and more as part of a community, a functioning scene. While others saw grunge as their ticket to, LA mansions or whatever.
He stayed focused on Seattle, on Sub Pop.
It seems like it. Dedicated to the label's identity, making sure that whole Pacific Northwest creative thing stays, viable. His professional work literally keeps the indie machine running.
In the warehouse, yeah. And maybe figuratively, too, in the studio, by sticking to his guns artistically.
That's a great way to put it. For him, maybe the integrity of the scene, the ability to keep making the music he wanted to make within that scene, that was more valuable than the sort of flashy but maybe fleeting major label thing.
That authentic DIY attitude, grounded right there at the PNW. It explains why his early bands were so uncompromising.
Okay, so knowing about that consistency later makes the sheer chaos of his early bands even more fun to look at.
Right. Let's go back, way back.
Yeah.
Mark Arm's story really is the story of Seattle punk. He jumped in super early, 1980, still in high school.
Yeah, with Mr. Epp and the Calculations.
Mr. Epp, what a name.
This is before grunge was even a word. This is primal Seattle punk, noisy, definitely anti-polished.
Who was in that band?
Initially, singer Joe Smitty, Peter Wick, and they just went for absurdity right away. Their first recorded song, The Pigeon in the Fountain Bed.
Okay, yeah, that sounds conceptual.
It sounds like performance art mixed with maybe some really basic garage rock, that mix of the intellectual or arty with the super lo-fi that's kind of Arm's signature from the start.
And they apparently achieved a certain kind of notoriety. Audacious failure, maybe?
Well, yeah, this is legendary. Stephen Rabbo, a local radio DJ, he flat out called them the worst band in the world.
Wow. Not just bad, but the worst.
In the world. I mean, in punk rock history, that's practically a Medal of Honor, right?
Absolutely. You don't get that title unless you're seriously messing with people's expectations of what music should be.
It set the tone right there.
Yeah.
Uncompromising, challenging. That attitude carried straight through.
So they were playing shows, putting out stuff.
Yeah, first show in 81, opening for Student Nurse. Their early output was super underground. They did a 7-inch EP, Mohawk Man, in 82.
But the key partnership, the one that lasts, gets formed here, right?
Yes. 1983. Steve Turner joins on second guitar, Arm and Turner. That's the core chemical reaction for pretty much everything that follows.
And what do they do then?
Well, 83, they put out this cassette. And the notes that came with it actually called it a combination of art and hardcore.
Art and hardcore. Okay.
So again, not just songs, it was experimental sound, meant to provoke, confuse.
And there's that amazing description of what was actually on the tape.
Oh yeah, from the Revenge Against Boredom zine in 84. It listed the contents. Get this, 45 or so minutes of pillow fights, jokes, some songs, preachers garbled talking.
Pillow fights.
Pillow fights. And the review ended with this killer line, and you get to find out what you get if you give up your personality. Just pure punk philosophy.
It's like rock music actively trying to annoy you or make you question everything.
Exactly. Performance art pretending to be a band, or maybe a band rejecting the whole idea of being a band. Arm and Turner clearly valued chaos, absurdity, anything but commercial appeal. That's foundational for Sub Pop later.
And they were playing big local shows, too. Getting noticed.
They played with 10-Minute Warning and the Dead Kennedys at the Eagles Auditorium. That's a big deal. Puts them right in the middle of that early Seattle hardcore scene, mixing with what would become grunge.
Okay, so Mr. Epp eventually falls apart.
Yeah, brief stint for Arm and Turner in a band called Limp Richards. Kind of a footnote.
But then, Green River.
Green River. Okay, this is it, the cornerstone, where the local punk scene starts to collide with maybe bigger ambitions, and that clash basically defines grunge.
This is the band that directly leads to, well, a lot.
Oh, yeah. Arm and Turner, they team up with Jeff Ament and Stone Gossard, future Pearl Jam, and drummer Alex Vincent.
So you've got the seeds of two massive but very different Seattle sounds right there in one band.
Precisely. Green River, historically, they're always named as one of the absolute first grunge bands. Right alongside Malfunction, Soundgarden, Skin Yard, the U-Men, they were pioneers.
And they put out music. They were active.
Yeah, for a short-lived band, they were productive. 2 EPs, Come On Down and Dry as a Bone, and 1 full album, Rehab Doll.
But these records, they weren't a unified front, were they? There was tension.
Huge tension. This is where the big split in grunge philosophy really starts. Inside Green River, you had a major disagreement about direction, commercial potential.
Avement and Gassard leaning more towards arena rock, major labels.
Yeah, something maybe more polished, more broadly appealing. They saw the potential for real success.
While Armin Turner, coming from worst band in the world.
They wanted to keep it raw, keep it punk, uncompromising. That abrasive edge was the whole point for them.
So when the band split, it wasn't just because Turner left for college temporarily.
Well, that was the trigger, maybe. But the account suggests that the frustration over the band's direction was the real reason. It was philosophical.
A fork in the road.
Totally. Iman and Gassard went off, formed Mother Love Bone, then eventually Pearl Jam. Pursued that rock star path very successfully.
And Armin Turner.
They basically doubled down on the raw, noisy integrity, which led them straight to Mudhoney.
And cemented Arm's reputation as the purist, the guy who wouldn't sell out.
Yeah. While the others went global, Arm and Turner, after Turner came back, they even briefly revived a Green Riverside project, the Thrown-Ups, another great name, before launching the main event.
Okay, 1988, Arm and Turner get the final pieces. Dan Peters on drums, powerhouse.
Incredible drummer.
And Matt Lukin on bass, fresh from the Melvins, bringing that heavy, sludgy low end.
That's the classic lineup. They renamed themselves Mudhoney. And boom, the world gets the undiluted Seattle sound.
Mudhoney really felt like the purest expression of what Green River maybe hinted at, but without any compromise.
Exactly. No polish. Heavier, way more distortion, feedback absolutely everywhere. They instantly became the flagship band for Sub Pop, which was just getting going.
And Sub Pop puts out their first single that same year, 88.
Yeah.
And it's just the anthem. Touch Me, I'm Sick.
You really can't overstate that track. It was like a bomb going off.
A declaration of war on slick 80s rock, maybe.
Totally. The sound itself, that grinding, out-of-control guitar noise Arm got, it was a deliberate rejection of musical prettiness or technical skill in the traditional sense.
Raw energy. Lo-fi production. Loud, ugly, but catchy.
Irresistibly catchy. That's the genius. It was the blueprint. Dictated the whole aesthetic for the Pacific Northwest scene for years. They followed that up fast. Lots of touring. The Super Fuzz Big Muff EP, also legendary.
Right. And the self-titled album in 89.
They were the band Sub Pop built its early buzz on, but that success created its own problems, especially with the financial realities of indie labels.
Yeah, tell me about their next album, Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge.
Yeah.
The timing was weird, right? It came out just before Nirvana's Nevermind blew everything up.
The timing was brutal, but the sources say the delay wasn't creative, the album was ready. The problem was Sub Pop itself.
What happened?
Despite all the hype Mudhoney had generated for them internationally, Sub Pop was apparently on the verge of bankruptcy. Literally.
Why?
They were scrambling just to pay Mudhoney, their biggest band, let alone fund a proper global release and promotion.
That really highlights the chaos and knife-edge existence of the indie scene they were championing.
Absolutely. Here's the band defining the sound, and the label can barely keep the lights on. The album finally drops July 91, just 2 months before Nevermind changes. Well, everything.
So 1992, Nirvana's massive. The whole world is looking at Seattle. And Mudhoney, like a lot of bands then.
They jumped to a major label, Reprise Records, trying to catch that wave, you assume.
But their major label debut, piece of cake. It didn't explode like Pearl Jam or Soundgarden did. It was seen as a commercial failure, relatively speaking.
Yeah, and this is where Arm's refusal to compromise really bumps up against the big leagues. The album just didn't sell huge numbers.
Why not? Too raw for the majors. Genre fatigue setting in already.
Probably a bit of both. The labels wanted the next Nirvana, something palatable for arenas. Mudhoney was still delivering, well, Mudhoney, noise, feedback, attitude.
And wasn't there some pretty honest reflection from the band itself about that record?
Oh, yeah. Steve Turner gave this really candid quote about it. He said the title, Piece of Kick, was kind of sarcastic about how easily things had come to them. But then he admitted the songs were kind of half-baked and Mark wasn't at his best.
Wow. That's brutally honest.
It suggests that the major label pressure, the environment, maybe it did impact the art. artistic fatigue, maybe realizing that chasing that commercial dragon did compromise things, just like they worried about back in Green River.
So that major label experiment was kind of a reality check.
It seems like it solidified their identity. Okay, we're not going to be Pearl Jam. We're Mudhoney. We're the authentic, maybe unsellable core of this thing. We'd rather be real than huge.
And the most amazing thing about Mudhoney, they just kept going. They never stopped.
Incredible longevity. One of the very, very few original grunge bands still putting out records consistently. It's genuine resilience.
Just look at the output since then. Since we become translucent in 2002.
Under a Billion Suns, 2005. The Lucky Ones, 2008.
Vanishing Point in 2013. Digital Garbage in 2018.
And Plastic Eternity, just last year, 2023.
Yep.
This band is still a going concern 4 decades in.
And the crucial part, where have all those albums come out?
Every single one since that Reprise detour. Right back home on Sub Pop.
That says everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Loyalty, creative control, rejecting the major label machine after trying it. They went back to where they belong.
So Mudhoney is the main thing, obviously, but Mark Arm's fingerprints are all over the place. Collaborations, side projects, supergroups.
Right. He wasn't just in his own bubble. He's like this constant presence in that whole garage punk world.
Yeah, totally. He did a bit of solo stuff early on, like the Freewheelin' Mark Arm single in 1990.
For reeling, nice Dylan nod there.
Right, and he fronted a band called Bloodloss for a while, singer and guitarist.
But the supergroups are where you really see his connections, right? His commitment to that whole raw rock history.
Oh, definitely. Take the Monkeywrench, Seattle supergroup. The lineup is just nuts.
Who was in it?
Arm and Turner, of course. Plus Tim Kerr from legendary Texas punk bands like Big Boys, Poison 13, Lord High Fixers.
Wow, okay. Serious punk cred.
Tom Price from Gas Huffer, another great Seattle band. And Martin Bland, who was also in Bloodloss.
This is connecting Seattle with, like, Texas punk roots.
Exactly. It shows Arm sees his music as part of this longer history, this lineage of garage and punk. The Monkeywrench wasn't some throwaway joke band. They made serious, respected garage rock records.
And he wasn't just sticking to the indie world for collabs either. He popped up on major records too.
Yeah, high-profile guest spots. The most famous is probably singing on Alice in Chains' EP, Sap, back in '92.
That's interesting. Alice in Chains were huge commercially then.
Right. But they still wanted Mark Arm on their record. It shows the respect he had. Even among the bands hitting platinum, he was like the stamp of authenticity.
Okay, what else? Any other big collaborations?
Well, this one is wild. 1998, a project called Wild Rats.
Wild Rats. With 2 T's.
Yep. For the soundtrack of the movie Velvet Goldmine, the glam rock film.
Okay, so different vibe.
Kinda, but listen to this lineup. Mark Arm, Ron Asheton from The Stooges.
Oh, okay. Guitar legend?
Mike Watt from Minutemen, Firehose, Thurston Moore and Steve Shelley from Sonic Youth.
That's insane. That's like a punk and noise rock hall of fame right there.
Seriously, Arm playing alongside Ron Asheton, that's connecting directly with the absolute legends who inspired him.
And that Stooges connection kept going, didn't it?
Yeah, he sang lead vocals on a cover of The Stooges' I Need Somebody for the band Nebula on their '99 album To the Center. He's constantly paying tribute to that raw, proto-punk sound.
Seems like he's got a real reverence for the history.
Absolutely. Which leads to maybe the ultimate tribute project, the New Strychnines in 2000.
The New Strychnines?
Yeah.
What was that?
This was huge. Arm, Turner, Peters from Mudhoney, plus Scott McCaughey from Young Fresh Fellows, and REM Tom Price again, Bill Henderson.
Another stacked lineup.
What did they do? They recorded an entire album called The New Original Sonic Sound, 16 cover songs, all by one band.
Whew.
The Sonics, the legendary, incredibly influential mid-'60s garage band from Seattle.
Ah, bringing it back home.
Exactly. This goes back to that intellectual foundation. Arm isn't just playing garage rock. He's actively documenting and celebrating its roots, especially the roots in his own city. It's like a history project set to maximum volume.
That's really cool. Any other standout moments?
One more that really speaks to his status. In 2004, he toured with MC5. The actual MC5, yeah. Standing in on lead vocals for the late, great Rob Tyner.
Filling Rob Tyner's shoes.
No.
That's massive respect.
It's unbelievable, right? The voice of Kick Out the Jams, for them to ask Mark Arm, it shows they saw him as someone who genuinely got that explosive proto-punk energy. He's seen as a true carrier of that flame, a generational link.
Wow, and he still collaborates with his peers, too.
Oh, yeah. Good example. 2013, he sang on a cover of The Scientists' Set It on Fire for the Melvins album, Everybody Loves Sausages.
Perfect. Melvins, Mudhoney,
Yeah.
still connected after all these years.
It just shows he's always there, part of the fabric of that scene, lending his voice, supporting his friends. Always community over commerce, it seems. Hashtag outro.
Okay, so when we put all these pieces together, what's the big picture? The Boy Scout, the English major, the warehouse manager.
The worst band in the world guy. The Green River co-founder, the Mudhoney frontman, the constant collaborator.
It paints a picture of someone really unique in rock history. Someone who seems driven by a very clear set of values.
Yeah, he's way more than just the singer of Mudhoney. He feels like this cultural anchor for the whole Seattle scene, doesn't he?
He really does. The link connecting the earliest noisy punk stuff, like Mr. Rap.
Through the whole crazy major label grunge explosion.
And then crucially, back to the indie spirit, back to Sub Pop.
Yeah.
And staying there.
He really embodies that Pacific Northwest sound, the authentic heart of it, by showing that you can maintain integrity, maybe through just consistency.
Yeah.
Sticking around.
Choosing to support the scene,
Yeah.
even managing the warehouse, instead of just chasing the spotlight.
Exactly. His whole career path, the steady job versus the totally uncompromising music, it offers this different model for how to have a long creative life in rock, right?
One that isn't just about hitting #1 or burning out.
He picked the scene over the stadium, basically.
Yeah.
And that choice seems to have let him stay creative and true to himself for like 40 years without answering to a sales report.
So here's the question for you, listening to this deep dive. Considering everything Green River, Mudhoney, Sub Pop, all the side projects, his actual job is Mark Arm's role as this constant, maybe overlooked, grounding figure.
Both artistically with the music and professionally with the job.
Is that maybe more influential on the long-term health of that scene than some of the shorter, brighter, more famous careers of his peers?
It's something to think about, right? His influence isn't just loud, it's deep and lasting. We definitely suggest you go explore the music, check out The Monkeywrench.
Or that new Strychnine's album, the Sonics covers. Hear the history he's so connected to.
Explore the work of the guy who didn't just make the noise, but stuck around to, well, literally manage the records.
He defined the sound, they went back to work. That's something else.
That is a deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.